I think that maybe I'm not supposed to wear ties. I, I like ties though. Um, they look good. Um, I look good when I wear them. Of course, I look good all the time. um, at least I sure hope that I do. My heart is in love with being in love. um, I think it'll be a good present. I think it'll be a very good husband. um, uh, I have a wife or ex-wife. I'm not sure how she wants to be. What she wants, what does she want somebody to say she is? My wife or my ex-wife? She left me years ago. I was 27 years old then. And she's, at the time she was young, and she wanted to go out with her friends and do all that kind of stuff, and I guess I can't blame her for that. I wish she had, thought of that before we got married, but I hadn't become the success that I was supposed to be, or I haven't today either. So, but I'm not sure how that was supposed to happen. Lots of times I feel I'm like this close to being, a bit to living, my very best good dreams. I'm not even sure why I'm alive, to be quite honest with you, except that I think that I was supposed to, and I know this might sound cliche, but save the world. Um, um, I feel like a lot of times I'm not even supposed to say certain words or thing, but save the planet, or maybe I'm supposed to plan how to save the planet. I have lots of good ideas for that, though. I mean, I'm very good at making things beautiful, and I think I could do that for the country. Because I have a genuine love of people, and I think I would be a good president for the same reason that I love my ex-wife. She's been mean to me, very mean, and she's ignored me. She's been rude. She's mocked me, and all kinds of things. Just not very nice or kind, and that hasn't changed the fact that I love her, because I know the best part of her. Right? I've seen, like the very best parts of her. Maybe not you know, I mean, you know, the longer you love someone, the better they seem to get. And so maybe I haven't seen the very best parts of it, but I've seen the very best parts that would make someone the very best that they could be. And that's what a president's supposed to do. Whether there's people in the country that like you or don't like you, whether there's people that have been mean or rude or anything, you gotta love them anyways. That's what a president's supposed to do. Because as a president, your job is to um, do your very best to make sure that people make sure that people are have the best, most happy, enjoyable experience of living that they can have. And you know, we've done it in some, you know, like I think we've been doing the same thing for a long time. You know, we've been teaching our kids that they come from a history of war and violence. I think we should maybe change that idea. And the reason I think we should do that is because if kids today hear about a war somewhere in the world, they're not shocked by it. They're not. Maybe sometimes they're dismayed or feel saddened by it, but they just think it's another thing that happened. I mean, I remember, you know, as a kid myself, I even as an adult saying, maybe I'm not supposed to say the word myself, but I'm not sure how. I can't choose the perfect words all the time. I can choose the best words with the most amount of love. Is but that's what I can do. Now, I remember thinking, you know, when we went to like Desert Storm and stuff, you know, oh, blow that place up and turn it into a parking lot. But I wasn't thinking about people then. You know, I was just thinking about, you know, patriotism and America and stuff like that. But I think good patriotism is more than just being in love with the country. It's being in love with the world. But you know, I didn't think about the fact that well, I just well, what I'm saying is that the perfect or the best president is a president who will do the most he can for the people, no matter you know, if there's some people that think they don't like the president or something like that. That, you know, and Barack was a very good example of that. But you know, I'm not a Democrat. Of course, I'm not Republican either. I'm kind of I'm kind of a mixture of both, yes, because I think we should have very small government, and that's kind of a Republican stance on things, although they've been they've been the complete opposite of small government for a long time. I'm also pro-life. That's because I'm not pro-death, right? I don't think we should I mean, that's what pro-choice is pro-death. But I also think that um, the government should be small, but then the government's idea should be to help build up as many people as possible. For 150, 200 years, our kind of country's goal has been, financially driven. What I'm saying by that is, profits have been essential for business. But what hasn't been essential for profits is people. That's why, see, I guess I wasn't supposed to say that, but I think that's actually the truth, because people would send work overseas, and people would lose their jobs here. Now, it's good to give people work anywhere. Anytime we can better the lives of anybody on the planet. That's what we need to do. But business needs to, we need to take sin out of business, right? How do you spell business? B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S. So we need to take the sin out of business and put the heart in it, put the love in it. We need to stop teaching our kids that they come from a history of violence. That way, if there is some kind of war or conflict somewhere in the world, people get, where they feel like a disbelief, like, how could you be doing that? That's how we bring about peace, and we certainly don't bring about peace by using the peace that people have. Okay, we have peacekeeping troops that carry guns, and they call those guns their peace, right? I think cops call their guns their peace too. But those things aren't about peace. A gun wasn't made for peace. A gun was made for war. That's its purpose. I think we need to, people need to have the right to have guns, but we shouldn't have guns at all. But the only way that would ever work is if the government had no guns first. I think that's the best way to do that. I think we're doing it the wrong way with gun control. I think first it needs to be, look, I mean, it's not, John or whoever with their gun that's declaring war on other countries and blowing up neighborhoods and stuff like that. It's governments that do that to each other. But they don't. Governments don't necessarily do that to the other government as they do it to the other people. We're living in a world where we can all be connected now with computers and all that kind of stuff, and we know that everybody around the world pretty much has the same idea. We want our kids to be safe. We want them to be happy. We want our families to be close and loving and caring. We want to feel like that the people that we live with or around or are all this have this close-knit ties, right? And some ties don't bind, right? They strengthen, right? And if we could strengthen the world with the right kind of ties, then, well, okay, I'll give you an example. I put this tie on because I love you, and I want to present, some of the best images that I can, And this is the type of clothes that we call our best, right? We call our suits our best clothes, and women, when they put on dresses and stuff like that, that's their best clothes and stuff like that. But I also believe in good hygiene. See? So, um, so I'm trying to, because I, um, as a president, I don't think I mean, there might be times where you have to sit behind the desk all day and do that. I mean, I do that with my business quite a bit, but I think presidents should be getting out there and look. We could build houses for everybody, right? We don't have to have homeless people, and instead of kids having to go to college and choosing their careers based on. Now, I think a lot of times kids try to go and do what they think they want to do, but there's a lot of kids that go to school and to learn a certain type of for a certain for a certain type of career, not because that's what they love to do, but because they thought, okay, well, this is how much money I want to make, and so we have people that are in the wrong types of work because they're trying to make a certain amount of money. And so how many people that should have been I don't know. You might have people that are doctors that shouldn't be doctors, that should have been counselors or social workers or artists or musicians or but they wanted to make sure they wanted that safety net, so to speak, and so they went for the job, the type of job that were sure they could be able to afford the kind of lifestyle that they have. But with that comes no guarantees. Not with the economic system that we built, because companies and businesses go out and there's financial collapse and all these kinds of different things, layoffs and da-da-da. And so there's no guarantee in that. And so we have this economic system right now that doesn't guarantee that life is a gift that we're told that it's supposed to be, and that we know that it's supposed to be. Not just that we're told. I mean, people say that, hey, living is a gift, but it's not a gift anymore. I mean, it is, but the type of economic system that we have says that now our kids are born into debt. And I think that is not the way to do that. I think other things we should do is, listen, people need to have we need to be free as far as our thinking and things like that. But there's some things that we shouldn't, maybe in some ways that we shouldn't be free to do. Like, how about making Army Men toys? Now, I played with them when I was a kid. I think maybe I even gave them to my kids. I hope that I didn't, but I think one time I did buy some. Anyways, when I started to think about this one day, and I was like, that's an awful toy to give kids. Here, take these little plastic Army Men and imagine war and killing people and shooting people and blowing things up and destroying things. We're supposed to be creators, right? We're supposed to make things, not destroy them. Now, yeah, I mean, I guess there's times where, a building has gotten so old that it's time to knock it down and stuff like that. But that's, we have the technology now where we can build things that, I mean, we can. I think we're at a unique time in human history when we can evolve not only ourselves as people, but as a as a planet, right? We can plan this better. We can plan it better. Yeah. And if we let people do jobs that they like to do, that they want to do, then you don't have to talk people into doing that kind of job. You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to say, hey, I've talked to people, and they said, well, if everybody got paid the same, then people would get lazy, and some people wouldn't want to work, or something like that. Or if we took care of everybody equally, if we actually believed in equality, then it wouldn't work. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, because well, okay, maybe that's the wrong word to use, but if people get to do what they love to do, you don't have to talk them into do it, because think about it, they love to do that. I would like to have a campground. I wake up early every day and be smiling every day if I had a campground. You wouldn't have to talk me into going to work maybe the day after, a wedding or something, you might have to talk me. I hope, we'd hope that the day after the wedding you don't have to go to work, but who's to say you wouldn't want to? Who's to say you marry the right girl and she wants to go to work with you the very next day? Why? Because it's doing something that you love to do. Yeah. My ex-wife Jennifer, I loved going to work with her. We had a little cart thing at a place called Mercado, and in Orlando, and I loved working with my wife. And in fact, when I started this business, or the business that I have now, that really hadn't gotten off the ground the way that I'd like, but I tried to get in touch with her, to see if that's something that she wanted to do. But she's got her, she's doing whatever it is that she wants to do. So, and I hope she finds happiness in that. And if she doesn't find happiness in that, I hope she finds it in, something that's good. Okay. What are some other things that we can do? Well, we can start improving our relationship with people around the world, by actually saying that we want to help them improve their situation. They say sometimes the best way to not have your own problems affect you is to think about someone else. Right? So we might be able to do something like that. And maybe instead of building a new Berlin Wall for the United States between us and Mexico, maybe we could tear down the wall that's there. Right? And when people need, okay, if it was your family that needed, and you're trying to provide for your family, okay, and there's the particular place that you happen to live, which might be a certain area in Mexico or something like that, you can't provide for them there. And so you say, hey, you know what, I got to do something. And so you look and you find, okay, well, I can't find anything in this particular area, so I'm going to go to what most people around the world, or many people around the world, would say, it was the land of promise. And that's something I did. I missed a prom when I was a kid that I should have gone. So, and I should have taken the girl with me that I should have taken. But, and Mindy, I'm very sorry I did not ask you to the prom. Belinda Stojonic, yeah. And so if we could find one to go to, I'd take you now. I've been very lucky in my life. I never dated my high school sweetheart, but I spent every day with her. Now that's lucky and not lucky, because at the time I didn't think I was good enough for her. But I am, and I was then too. And she knew it. And she was, every day she tried to show me that she wanted me to marry her, and sometimes you pick up on certain ideas or hints that a girl's trying to give you, and sometimes you just go, huh? And I didn't think I was good enough. But I guess God loved me, because He sent me another really beautiful, wonderful girl. And that was Jennifer. And then, we had some, I guess I didn't become as she knew that I could have been much more than at the time. And I didn't, I didn't figure it out. I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't get it. And the same reason maybe that I don't understand a lot of things about the way we do things in the world today. But I think that's what would make me a good president, because some things I think we shouldn't understand. Some things I think we should say, wait a minute, this is obviously, the wrong way to do certain things. So let's do this. Let's do something different. So it's like our educational system. We have how many? Millions of teachers that love teaching, and lots of teachers that the thing is, here's another thing. Lots of teachers that used to love teaching, but don't anymore, because they've been they're put on the strict path of, this is what you got to teach, this is how you got to teach it, and that's it. And so, they have this directive thing that says no kid left behind, but they're leaving kids behind all the time. It hasn't changed or anything. I mean, it's just and we need to be encouraging kids to study the things that they have a passion for. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be this, and then 2 years later I wanted to be this, or a year later I wanted to be this, or days later you wanted to be something different. But we should encourage kids to study the things that they're excited and interested in. And if they lose interest in it, then that's not the thing for them, okay? So then they move to the next thing. But they're going to get to a point where they go, this is it. This is the thing, right? And kids are going to jump out of bed to go to school, right? They're going to be excited. You're not going to have to, people, of course, we know what it's like to to wake kids up for school and get them to, go to school. But, if we changed the way we did that, teachers would go to school, be happy. They would enjoy their work. They wouldn't, I know there's a lot of teachers out there that feel like they're fighting an uphill battle. And instead of that, we could be saying, look, you have a passion for this, and these kids have a passion for the same thing. Y'all should have a great time, right? And then what we have then is a bunch of people that, as they, um, you know, grow up and come out into the world and start to participate in building up the world and kind of the way that we think about things like that. Um, Instead of saying people entering the workforce because they're forced to work sometimes at jobs that they don't like so they can pay bills. Instead of that, we could say uh, these are the work happies, or the work funds, the people that are having fun. Um, and what happens when people get to do what they love to do? The quality of what they do is that much better. Right? You don't have to. And if people go to work and they're happy because they're doing what they get to love to do, then maybe we don't have office politics anymore and people bickering in corners. I don't like this person, I don't like that person, because everybody's there and happy to be doing what it is that they love to do. Right? Imagine if we didn't have stress um, because we have to be able to make this certain kind of bill or that certain kind of bill. What if we made it possible for everybody to be able to comfortably live and take care of themselves and be able to choose equal enjoyment around the world and around the country, based on the fact that they were born here and living's a gift, right? That's what I think. So these are some big ideas, right? Some uh, you know some differences that people will often say to me. They'll say, in a perfect world, that's how we would do it. Well, my idea is let's make a perfect world. Listen, it should feel as close to what we call heaven as possible, and we can actually make that. Now, I know a lot of people are waiting for the Savior, and that's a good thing, But when religion does things that betters their lives and makes them feel good about themselves and gives them hope, that's a good thing. But I would say to those folks, I would say to anybody that believes in God or has faith in God, is why don't we get the place ready for Him to get here? Right? Why don't we go ahead and make this world heaven? Yeah. And it's something we can very easily do. Listen, I hope, we've all had times where we felt like we were in heaven. Maybe we were at a certain place and we looked out and there's a beautiful sunrise or a sunset or a beautiful park and flowers and or maybe it was looking at your wife over the dinner table. Or heaven for me has been I used to wake my kids up a lot of time for school, and I would get my daughter ready for school, and that was heaven. Yeah, it was heaven. I loved being that part of the day, the first part of the day, with my kids, and that was that was heaven. There were times where I would my wife Brenda, ex-wife, I guess is what we call her. Actually, we never technically got married, but I married her the same way that I married Belinda, and that was here. Same way I married my wife Jennifer, but we also did the ceremony thing. Guys have a joke, right? Hey, if you like golf, don't take your wife. That's kind of the joke. My favorite time playing golf was playing golf with my wife. We went out on the golf course and uh, 2 or 3 times, and that 2 or 3 times were the best times ever. I mean, it was just, there's one day in particular that we went to a place called Family Golf, and it was yeah, it was one of the best days that I had with my wife. Or yeah, well, it was one of the best days I had. um, so that was heaven. And there's days where like there's days, the job that I do now could be heaven. I haven't had those days yet, but I haven't had that clientele yet. So, but I started a limousine kind of thing, and it's take people different places and stuff like that. And I'd like to do that for like weddings and stuff like that. That'd be kind of fun. The reason that I want to do this is because it's actually, it's the expression, a good vehicle to make it possible for me to have campground. Maybe Camp David. And I think maybe part of the reason that I thought about the limousine business, maybe because I was longing for those days of heaven again, for for my family and things like that, and just to be able to do the kind of work that I enjoy. I was longing for that. Well, limousine's kind of long. Maybe that's maybe it was another thing, to say, hey, you belong in the White House, because the president goes around in a limousine all the time. But I would like to. Well, I guess he doesn't go all the time in a limousine, but he goes in. If he wants, he does. So, yeah. So there you go. I hope that this gives you kind of an idea of the things I'd like to do and the things that are important. The things that I think that we should all, kind of think about as far as, what kind of future do we want for our kids? And what kind of here and now do we want that we want to live? I mean, do we want to live in a world where we're stressed and people don't, do the kind of jobs that they want to do, or do we want? I mean, right now I've been doing this business. I've been doing it kind of pretty much by myself, or actually very much by myself, and that's taken a lot. That's taken the fun out of it, because I am not, all the internet stuff. I'm not as proficient as that as I am at other things. Like I'm very good at giving care to people. I'm very, taking good. Like I'm good at loving people and that kind of stuff. But on the computer, that's not so much. My best work. I'm trying to do my best at it, the best that I can at it. It's just, but that's another thing that a president does, is he's able to put together good groups of people, and I think that's something that I can do I can put good groups of people together. Now, maybe it's God been saying to me, hey, listen, I don't want you doing this, because everybody that I've talked to try and get help hasn't either paid much attention or offered to do something very different than what I asked or what I needed at the time. But I think there's some good, and you don't have to believe in God. Okay, you could call it nature, the universe. You can call it whatever you want to. God wouldn't be mad at you for not believing in God, not for 1 minute. But that doesn't change the fact that He loves you, because I love you very much. Okay. I think, together we can do this. If I was going to be president, I'd want, 51% is not enough. It might be enough to actually win an election, but it's not what I'd be looking for. Because I think what we should do as a people is do things as a people, right? Maybe we should start looking at votes at, like, saying, hey, instead of 51% of people taking away the ideas and rights of 49%, maybe we should say, hey, 90 or 95% of people should kind of agree with things. Some people are stubborn or hard-headed, but if 90 or 95% of the people feel good about something, we're going to have a really happy country, right? Because we're going to have people in agreement with each other. Instead of presenting ideas saying, hey, these are, this or this, why don't we say, hey, what is the idea that everybody likes? Let's put something together that everybody likes. When we start talking about, making different guidelines, or, I don't know how crazy I am about the word rules, but, different, if we're going to put together these different ideas of, the way we should do things together as a country, or people, or world, or planet, I think we ought to be trying to give ourselves solutions that pretty much most everybody agrees on. And so if we find that there's big disagreements between people, then we should say, okay, well, what can we do to work together to make this type of thing agreeable for everybody, or agreeable to everybody, or how about I don't know. How about we do love one another, right? And let's let love win another and another and another. And let's try to make it to where love wins and there's no losers. That's my idea. Okay. I think that's probably a bunch of people's idea. Alright. I love you. And, yeah, I love you.